What's poppin'? It's your boy Chove. We are back with another Crystal of Atlan banger, and today I got a request from game chat. Actually, somebody in game chat says, man, I need to find a YouTube video on Minewars. And I said, you want me to make one? I can make one. So today we are doing a video on Minewars. I've actually wanted to do a video for a while, but I think now is more important than ever, especially since, you know, these rewards are coming out and people are walking around town with these big ass robots. And it's like, bro, how can I get one? Can I get one? Is it possible? How could you do it? Such and such. I don't understand. Crystal of Atlan doesn't provide enough information. I don't know what's going on. So we're here to break down all the scattered information that Crystal of Atlan gives. And we're here to make it a little bit simpler for you. And we're here to give you a few pointers on what to do to improve your Minewars journey, okay? So what is Minewars, first of all? What is Minewars? So Minewars is a fleet event, and you're essentially no, it's a server event, really. And what it is your server goes up against different servers to take down this six-legged spider robot thingy, and the first team to take it down, which technically means to get the last hit on the robot, wins that Minewars. So what we're not going to go over is we're not going to go over the mining portion, okay? The daily mining, I'm going to skip all this. I'm not really interested in it. So, but this is for like gathering resources for like fleet. So if I was to do a video on like you know, growing a fleet and things like that, then I'd go over this, but this I'm not going over. First thing I want to go over before anything is the rewards. Why should you do Minewars? Well, I'll show you here. You actually get access to Prismadium, and you get access to Catalyst by doing Minewars. You can literally get 4 Catalysts a day, and I believe 80 Prismadium a day by doing your daily Minewars. They come in these elite packs, okay? And these elite packs are rewarded to those that perform really well in Minewars. And there's different ways that you could perform in Minewars, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, the reason why you should be doing your Minewars is because there's very few things that allow you to farm catalysts. Hello, catalysts. Okay, 4 catalysts a day. That's 2 stable catalysts a day. Okay, I was farming Minewars like crazy when it came down to getting all of my gear from 12 to 15. That enhancing roadblock that everybody hates, right? Because everybody complains that you don't get enough catalysts, okay? But the people are complaining, I'm noticing, aren't doing their Minewars elite packs every day. And so you're complaining about something that they actually do give every single day. 2 of them, 4 of them, right? That means every 5 days you can stack 20 of them and, you know, get a piece of gear to, you know, so it's something that we all need to know is available to us. And those Prismadiums are huge too, especially when it comes to opening your daily Wonder Shop. You know, sometimes you'll think to yourself, well, how do I keep getting Prismadiums? And Minewars is one of those ways that you keep adding on Prismadiums so that you can actually take advantage of the Wonder Shop that pops up here once a day. So that's one reward that you get, okay? What are some other rewards? Well, also, as you continue to do Minewars, you end up getting rank up depending on your continued performance in Minewars. And as you rank up, you'll get promotion rewards. So like, if you're a miner, that's how you start. If you promote to a foreman, then you'll get 100,000 bound gold and 1 catalyst. And it's you only need 500 combination to promote to a foreman. Keep in mind, 500 accommodation is like 3 days worth of Minewars. It's not a lot, right? So, and 800 is 4 days worth of Minewars. And here you get an extra 130,000 gold and you get 2 catalysts. For 6 days worth of Minewars or 1200 accommodation, you get 150,000 pound gold and a potent catalyst. So these are rewards that you can get just by increasing the amount of accommodation that you're getting every week. That allows you to get these rewards. And then the top 3 players on the accommodation rankings each Friday are awarded the exclusive moniker Enemy's Bane, which is, you know, which is dope. And then there are season rewards. Now the season rewards is how people are getting these crazy robots. And the robots are dope. I'm not gonna lie to you. So the way that it works is on the left-hand side, you have the rankings for your actual fleet. So as you can see, your fleet can be all the way in the 51 to 100s, and the commander-in-chiefs will still get, you know, this mount, which is this right here. You see people walking around with it, as long as they're top 3. Now I'm gonna go over what this means fully, but I think this is something to really pay attention to, because if you're paying attention to this and you're doing your Minewars, then you can kind of gauge where you need to be at in the season wise to pick up your mount. And these mounts are dope. I don't think these go away once you actually get it. So, you know, these are pretty cool. I didn't get one because, you know, I really wasn't paying attention to where I needed to be. But, you know, I'm definitely paying a lot more attention now because I want one. And, you know, here's how it works. So on the left-hand side is your fleet ranking. So this is for the best fleet in the entire Mine War. So this is essentially the rewards that the number 1 fleet is getting. And everybody who is a commander-in-chief is getting this this robot right here, which is absolutely sick, right? They're also getting 10 Arcanites, and they're also getting 8 potent catalysts. Every legate on this server is getting, again, the mount. They're getting 9 adores, and they're getting 6 potent catalysts. And then every is it Chiliarch? They're not getting the mount. So even people on the number 1 team is not getting it based on their combination and how they contribute. So this is something you really want to pay attention to, right? If your fleet's doing really good, then you kind of want to rank up if you can, you know, and you do that by being consistent, and you take what you can get in Minewars. Obviously, if you're not a whale, then you don't want to sit there and fight trying to get kills to get your combination. You might want to attack spider legs to get your combination there. You might want to focus on taking territories to get your 10 combination there. You can get literally 100 combination a day by just taking territories. So it's like, there's things that you can do that will give you your combination so that you can get these rewards, okay? Now this is for the 2nd and 3rd best fleet in the season, right? And the 2nd and 3rd best fleet, every commander-in-chief gets this mount, right? It's like a whitish, silverish blue version, which is super sick. I'm telling you, I don't have one. It makes me sad. Every legate gets this one. So it's every commander-in-chief and every legate in either one of these servers, right? So these are huge. And then you got commander-in-chief and legates for the 4th and 5th. They all get access to this one. Now you start digging into the 6th through 20th best servers, right? And let me just make sure I am saying this right. Yeah, these are servers. So like my server was number 9. Oh, we're number 9 right now. Hold on. Sorry. Here we go. my server was number 12, right? And number 12 means that we fell in this category. And this means that the top 10 people got this mount, and I was number 13. And I didn't understand that when, you know, I was like, oh crap, we might get the mount such and such and such. But I really didn't know until I actually started researching and digging myself. So now that I know, okay, if your server is 620, only the top 10 commander-in-chiefs get this reward. Only top 10, okay? If you are number 11, even though you're a commander-in-chief, number 11 and below will not get this mount. You will fall in this category of the rest of the commander-in-chiefs. And you'll only be getting 6 doors, and you'll only be getting 5 catalysts. All legates get these rewards, and all chiliarchs get these rewards, okay? So in order to get the mount, you need to be top 10 commander-in-chiefs in your server to get these rewards, right? So it gets a little bit harder, but you know, if you're consistent in Minewars, which a lot of people are not, then you could do it, right? Now you got the 21st through 50th servers, okay? So there's still mounts available even for these people, but now it needs to be the top 5 people in the commander-in-chiefs in order to get these rewards. If you're not top 5 in commendation, as far as being commander-in-chief, then you now fall in the commander-in-chief category, which is below 5, and you just get the adores and the catalysts. You legates, you just get the catalysts and the adores, you know, like so forth and so forth. And then even 51st server through 100, this is like bottom of the bottom tier. There's still like mounts here available, but they're only for the top 3. So me knowing this, right, as you look at like my server now, I am sitting in top 3 because I know if I'm top 3, then I'm gonna get a mount no matter what. So now I'm focused on making sure I max out on my commendation, and then making sure that I get enough kills, because these are the 2 things that increase your rank: commendation and kills. So getting your 200 commendation a day, right? And you could do this just by playing Minewars. Just play Minewars, beat down the legs, steal territories, which you don't have to be that strong to do, right? I mean, I'll give you an example. I hate to use this example, Ramia, but you know, Ramia is 54,000. This is a very, very, very casual player, if you don't mind me saying, okay? This isn't a player that is like, this isn't even like an average player. It's a below average player, still able to get 1,000 commendation and still able to compete, right? If it was the end today, she'd be number 6, right? And we as a server would be number 9, right? So number 9, just to be clear, she would be getting a mount, okay? Even though she's not even close to a well. She is very, very, very below mediocre, but even she still has access to this because, you know, she's doing her thing. I don't know. I'm saying she because she's a she character. I don't know if it's a she or blah, 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 whatever. I'm just saying she because it's a she character. But, you know, she is, you know, she's being consistent in Minewars. Every time I'm in there, she's in there, right? So she's doing her thing and she's putting herself in position to get these mounts. And that's even above somebody who, again, I'm sorry for busting you guys out, but somebody like this person who's probably a lot higher in power. Yes, literally 12,000 higher in power, but is way less consistent in combination. So Ramia is going to be above whoever this, I don't know how to pronounce that, whoever this person is, just because she's getting combination, right? So, you know, the kills don't matter. Like, they got the same amount of kills, but she has a combination from being consistent. So that's me discussing the rewards. I definitely wanted to go over the rewards because the rewards are something that I think everybody gets misconstrued about how it works. So I just wanted to clarify how it works so that at least if you watch this video, you understand. Now let's talk about Minewars, right? So now we're talking about actually performing in Minewars, things you need to look out for, things you can do to improve, all this stuff. First thing I want to talk about is how do you get better at Minewars without welling out, right? And can you do it? Absolutely. And you know, if you do it, then there's advantages that you're gonna have over other people. I think one major thing that people don't consider, me included, I just went over like a bunch of stuff with Xerix, and Xerix got me to, like, Xerix is another player. He got me to like really look into this and then like optimize it. But he's the one that telling me, it was like, yeah, bro, you can optimize Minewars, it's a separate thing. And then I started looking into specifics. And the one thing I noticed is that the character attributes, the ones that are considered when you're in Minewars, okay? In this mode, all players have the same level 60 growth attributes. So all growth attributes are the same, okay? The only stats that are considered is character growth attributes, gear base attributes, gear enhancement attributes, right? So this means that people that have enhanced are going to have an advantage. Don't act like I'm saying that they're not. Somebody who has a yellow weapon is going to be a problem, and this is why. It's because it is considered you know, in Minewars, it is an active stat in Minewars. This is why it makes a difference. Relic attributes, gear insignia attributes, so your insignias matter, which is another well stat. Relic attributes, which is another well stat. Circuit attributes, which we can control. Outfit base attributes, which I don't know if it's a well stat. It's pretty, the gacha in this game is not really well, so just make sure you're getting all of your outfits. Make sure you finish those if you haven't already, and they will count towards your Minewars. Pet assistive attributes, which I don't know if people know, so I'll be going over that. Fleet tech buffs and mount collection progress effects. This one's huge, and I'll go over why. Certain character skill stats and attributes will be adjusted for balance in this mode. Skill stats and attributes will be adjusted for balance in this mode. And so this is just the game lowering and manipulating skill stats and attributes for certain classes to make it a little more even in Minewars. As you can tell, I don't think it's really that even in Minewars. There's obviously some classes better than others, but you know, Crystal of Atlan has to make an effort to continuously balance if they want balance to maintain or hold. That's on them, okay? We're not talking about that today. Anyways, so what does that mean? Well, what does all that mean? So I have a character, and my character has a bunch of stats, right? A bunch of stats. I have a lot of elemental. I got all this stuff from my insignias and all the stuff from my, you know, from my stats, right? Let's start breaking stuff down, okay? This is main attributes. These are enhancement attributes. These are additional attributes. Now, as you saw, main attributes are considered, enhancement attributes are considered, but additional attributes are not. So all this stuff that you're getting and you're thinking your character's hot shit, yeah, when you hop into Minewars, none of this shit matters, right? Circuit attributes does matter, and insignia attributes does matter, right? So all this matters, but this does not. And when you're thinking about your character as a whole, this matters greatly. So every character takes a huge nerf, right? When all your additional attributes are cut off, all this stuff is cut off. All this stuff is cut off. All gear sets, all that stuff is cut off. You don't get access to none of that. But the important thing is to not misunderstand that has nothing to do with PvP gear. Okay, PvP gear has nothing to do with Minewars. Even though it's a PvP event and you feel like your character is weaker, yeah, your character is weaker because your additional attributes are not included, but these are included. And you know, as you know, if you're enhanced higher, you're going to be stronger, and since these are not included, then somebody who's enhanced is going to be much stronger. So let's not act like, you know, Minewars is not a well event. If you're well in Minewars, you have a huge advantage, right? That's just the way it goes. But you know, like I said, there's some things that you can do to offset it a little bit, things that whales sometimes don't consider, and you'll be able to catch one off guard, you know what I mean? But that's not what I'm gonna teach you that, but I'm also gonna teach you how to be productive. All right, so let's go into, so you see my stats, right? And there are a lot of stats, pretty hefty, blah, blah, blah. Let's actually dip into Minewars and let's go over some things. You know what I'm saying? Let's go over some things. All right, so the first thing I wanna show you is, are potions active in Minewars? Okay, that's the first question that we'll answer. And I can answer it for you, or I can demonstrate, right? So let's activate a potion. We'll activate this one. All right, so boom. You see the pot active right here, okay? We're gonna go into Minewars, and we're going in the area. There's not an actual Minewars going on right now, but it's cool. At least in this mode, I can show you guys the map, things to look for, stats, like all in the meantime. So this is pretty cool. First of all, potion is active, okay? So potions do work. Does food work in Minewars? Yes, it does. So one thing to consider when you're like, well, what do I put? What do I build? All that stuff is look at your stats. Notice how your stats look way different than before. Like a lot of your bonuses are gone. Your crit, everything is way lower. Like everything is down, right? And you're just thinking, holy crap, what do I do? My character sucks. Well, you got to consider, you have to know where your character is pulling the stats from. That is the number one thing, okay? Wherever your character is pulling the stats from, that you can then improve based on the answer to that question. And as we know, characters pulling his stats from main attributes, enhancement attributes, but it's not considering additional attributes. If it was, my crit and crit damage would be a lot higher, okay? We know that the relic, I think this thing is considered a relic, no? Okay, so you see how it says relic? So on the bottom left, so this thing right here is indeed your relic, and the stats, your relic attributes are included in Minewars. So this is another well stat, right? So every level of your codex that you continue to level, if you don't know, your codex is increased as you increase the levels of your enhanced gear. So if I was to increase my weapon to plus 21 like it should have been a week ago, then my codex would be 191. If I did my talisman and my seal to both 19, then my codex would be 193. And then if I got it to 200, then these stats would be added to Minewars and be added to everything, right? I then gain these stats, which are pretty cool, I believe 200 is the threshold to get your weapon to plus 22, in case you were curious. I don't know why I added that piece of information in there, but I did. Anyways, so let's go back into Minewars. So your food does matter, right? Your food does matter, and the one thing that you want to consider are the stats of your character, right? Now I'm gonna speak in a Magic Blade sense, right? I don't know the answer for every character per se, but for Magic Blades, the one thing that's important for us is our magic crit, our crit damage, our attack speed, our main element, which is electro, damage bonus, skill damage, not damage to bosses, right? So, and not damage, well, it depends on if we got enemies debuffed, but keep in mind that when you hit somebody, your filth, yeah, this isn't included, so there's no filth stacks when it comes to PvP. So you might not, take advantage of the debuff as much as you usually do. So in order to increase your stats, you kind of got to know what stats are affected, and where you can like benefit from those effects in Minewars. So I'm not 35% crit. That's terrible for critting. If I can find a way to increase my crit, then I can actually take advantage of some of this crit damage that I have here. It's not much, but you got to admit 35% crit means that 1 out of every 3 hits are critting, which means I'm not really getting any advantage out of this crit damage. Okay. As you know, attack speed on magic blades is huge, right? Most of my skills, you know, increase based on the amount of attack speed I have based on that one skill that I can show you. So the more attack speed I have on my character would make a huge difference too. So one of the things that I would consider is when you're choosing your food, choosing a food like corn or choosing a food like, you know, something that increases your skill damage would be really good. Something that would increase your attack speed would be really good. You know, those are really good options when it comes to Minewars. Something that increases your elemental, like the turkey, is really good. And then of course your defensive stats from the others are really good as well. Those things is something that you use mostly for raids, but in raids right now we're using damage to debuff because it's so effective in raids. Yeah, it's not really as effective in Minewars, so you might want to switch to skill damage, and that right there would make a huge difference. A lot of you probably are not even using food in Minewars, so just knowing that you can and knowing that, you know, which food is effective would probably be a huge difference maker for you. You know what I mean? And food is highly effective in Minewars because our stats are what? Our stats are so low, and the food buffs, yeah, we get the full effects of the food buffs. So it makes a pretty huge difference. Another thing that makes a huge difference is our pet assistive attributes. We actually gain this, even though our pets are not here, we gain the assistive attributes of whatever pet is active. Now, as you can tell, I get base HP and attack from this pet. So Gentleman Fancy is not really doing shit for me, right? When I can get 15 elemental and, you know, base HP off of this pet might do me a little bit better. I only get 96 attack and this one gives me 15 elemental. Or this which a lot of people use in Minewars, this 3.6% to damage to debuff. Shoot, like I just mentioned, damage to debuff isn't that effective in Minewars. You might benefit more from the crit rate buff that you get from what's his pet's name? Tsunamaki? Tatsumaki? I think it's Tatsumaki. Yeah, this pet actually becomes pretty good in Minewars, right? You also get 6% from this pet right here. This is a well pet, so this is a good one to use in consideration. This is a good one for Minewars, so, you know? And so just try to consider different pet options. You know, this one gives you crit damage. This one gives you skill damage, right? I don't know how much it is when it's maxed, but you know, there's different pet options. You don't have to stick with this right here. Me myself, I use Turbo Tornado and I use Mr. Cat. That's my pet combination. But you know, what's funny is I argued a little bit ago that, you know, Tatsumaki was useless in the One Punch Man event because she was never really been the best pet. Come to find out, her best usage is actually in Minewars. Now, of course, you don't get to see her, you know, go crazy, but at least her assistive attributes, you know, help you and better than other pets. So yeah, something to consider. And I know some people like won't even think about that. And do you get the full crit from the assistive? Yes, you get all of it. So I'm gonna make those changes and I'm gonna show you guys what it would do if you know, what it looks like for your character if you actually make those changes. So let's say I'm just dipping into Minewars, right? And I decide, okay, I'm dipping into Minewars. So I actually want to do my lineup and I want to use you. And these are the two pets that I want to use. Bingo. Okay. Yeah, keep in mind, that's already 10% just off the pets alone. That's insane. That's insane. I love that. All right. And then bam, and I have the Minewars belt because we literally just won a Minewars. They like that. They like to fight. The Minewars team that we went up against, they like to fight. Man, all they do is fight. Okay. And then food. Let's look at our food, right? This is a great option. Increase your skill damage by 8%. A great option. Increases your crit rate by 8%. That's another great option if you want to get that crit up. Like if I was to do this in Tatsumaki, that alone increases my crit rate by 12%. I'd be almost 50. I think I'd be just about 50 rather than the 30 something that I was. Just from these two additions alone make a huge difference to crit every 2 hits instead of every 3, right? So there's that. And then this attack speed, the Starshroom Rice Ball, is another great option because attack speed actually increases your animation, your skill animation. And if your skill animation's a lot faster, you can actually spam skills a lot faster than your opponents. And when you're talking about the speed of it, you're talking about like you're going up against another Magic Blade, like, and who could get off their, you know, triple flashes into the, you know, dark combo faster, silhouette, dark combo, such and such, into a super blah blah blah, and my animations are way faster than yours. Well, I'm probably gonna kill you because I'm able to do more of my skills than you based on the fact that my Magic Blade's attacking faster than you. So, you know, there's these type of benefits that I think, you know, you got to be more aware of. Now, I'm going to show you guys how to read the map, okay? How to read the map, what you're supposed to be doing when you're in Minewars, to ignore the enemy when you have to and know where to go. So I just spawned, right, at this random spot. Sometimes when you're in Minewars, you spawn here. So this right here, this is considered a defense tower, okay? Why is it a defense tower? Okay, if you look at these like 4 flags, you notice this one kind of pops up. I'm at the first defense tower. It's called defense tower because if you take this, if you capture this tower in Minewars, your team gets a defense buff, right? Yeah, see, they're called shield towers and weapon towers. So here you get a defense buff off of these ones. You get a attack buff on these ones, okay? Now, one way to know kind of where you are. So this is the main boss. This is the main spider fight. So this is what you're gonna be dealing with pretty much all of Minewars, right? Yeah, so just looking straight ahead there. Are you guys done? Huh? I'm trying to do a video. Stop playing. Okay, look. So you notice how you can go straight up right here? Now, this is a great landmark. Whenever you're in the center of Minewars, you're kind of wondering where you are, like what to do. If you're ever shooting up these stairs, there's 2 entries. There's one on this side and there's one on the other side, right? And these are the only 2 that there are. If you go this way, then you kind of have to climb up either these stairs, which is kind of annoying to do, or you have to climb up kind of like through this way right here. So these will kind of get you lost a little bit, but I'll show you how to read those in a second. But these 2 straightaway paths, these are really important. These are going to take you to the attack towers, right? So if I go straight ahead and I just continue straight ahead right here, this is an attack tower. This is where you'll see most people fighting at, because whoever has control over this tower, well, you get an attack buff. So this is where you see people fighting for, and the attack buff is while you're in Minewars, right? So this is where you see people mainly duking it out, right? And if you have control over this point and you die, you're gonna res somewhere like right here and be able to kind of just shoot over to the left and, you know, end up right here, okay? Now, if you look at the 4 flags up here, I'm at the far right attack tower. If you go through the center all the way to the other side, then you're gonna be at the left attack tower. And that's kind of how you read the map from there. That's the basics of the map, because that's where the fighting is gonna be. If you are someone who is trying to kill, right? You're in Minewars and you're trying to get kills, then the first thing that you want to look for is taking control over these two towers. These give you the attack buffs. These are the most contested. This is where the enemy is most likely going to end up trying to spawn towards. They're not going to spawn here, but they're going to spawn and they're going to walk towards here, right? These is when you're, let's say you're a blue team and you're noticing that a flag's going down, right? It's going to be either one of these two, right? Like one of your attack towers is going down. It's going to be one of these two. So you're going to want to know, okay, I need to shoot over this way, or I need to shoot over this way. Just so you know, if you notice that it's red on the flag, but there's a blue light, just know you're going the wrong way. You need to go the opposite way, because if it's red and you're trying to take the flag, then you'll see red light here telling you that this is where that red light is coming from. It's from this red flag. So you need to go over here, kill whoever's over here, take control over this area. You'll get, I think, 4 combination per kill, and you'll get 10 combination for taking over the area. So that's a great way to keep stacking combination. It's getting kills. You can also get combination for reviving your teammates. But taking those areas gives you 10. I believe you can get 10 combinations a day for taking areas. So you can gain up to 100 combination a day just for being with your team that's taking one of these areas, and just being in this circle, just being in this area when the blue goes up and you guys actually take over this spot. If you're in this area, then you get 10 combination. So that is one huge thing, okay? The next huge thing is, if you're not trying to get kills, right, and you want to just be useful, then one thing is beneficial about knowing these areas is that when an enemy team starts to take one of your attack areas, they're gonna, your team is gonna, like, you're gonna notice that your team is gonna get off of one of these legs and they're gonna dart off to one of these areas, right? So you know where they're going. That's your opportunity to go with them, right? Kind of help them kill whoever they're trying to kill and be with them to take this tower area, okay? That's your opportunity to do that. Remember, combination is what you're doing Minewars for. That's how you get the rewards. So stacking your combination is what you want to do, okay? Otherwise, you want to beat down these legs right here. Just beat them down until the leg is destroyed. And you want to do that for the 6 legs. Takes a while. If your whole team is on here, your Minewars can last about 10 minutes. If your team is fighting too much and they're not on the legs, well, you're gonna end up in a 30-minute Minewars. That's how it goes. We literally had both of those yesterday. We did a 10-minute one, which is really fast. Our enemy team wasn't strong. They really couldn't compete with us. We had control over all the towers. We broke the legs very quickly, went up to the top. When you're at the top, there are these little there's these little 4 poles that pop up right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this main thing in the middle that you have to kill. Once you kill it, Minewars is over, you win. So we were able to do that in 10 minutes, which was awesome because I had somewhere to be. So okay, now what about these defense towers? How do I get there? Okay, that's number 1. So here is the attack tower. Straight ahead, goes into attack towers. So the defense towers are gonna be left and right. So if you think north and south, well then it's gonna be east, west, right? Don't pay attention to the you know, to the north, blah, blah, blah. I just said, all I'm saying is that this is your vertical, horizontal is where the defense towers is at, okay? However you wanna put that. So you go this way to get the attack tower. To get to the defense tower, there's 2 openings on each side. So you got this opening And then you got the stairs opening right here. So either, right? So this will take you straight towards the side, and boom, this is one of the defense towers. And then I'll go the other way just to show you guys. And then boom, this is the way under. So I just did a complete circle right now. So either one of these ways will take you to the defense tower. Just one's like to the left side of it and the other one's to the right side of it, right? And then on this side, same thing. So you can go up these stairs, or you can go up this little area right here, which is a slick little way to reach the defense tower. Okay. And then boom, make a sharp right and you're at the defense tower. Okay. Now you can go this way, and instead of going through the centers, you can literally do a circle around the entire map and keep hitting the towers without hitting the center. But going to the center is always going to be a little bit faster. Okay. So learning the map kind of allows you to get around faster. Okay. But if you wanted, like, let's say you noticed that the team fights a lot here and you wanted to get over here and you didn't want to go to this way, just know you can go through this way to get to this area, to get to this tower. Getting to know this map helps a lot in Minewars, right? And it's very easy to read once you get a gauge on where these two attack towers are, because everything else is kind of obvious from there. You know, if the attack towers are here, the defense towers are here, right? And if you consider going in a circle, you're just going from attack, defense, attack, defense, attack, defense, right? Now, instead of going in a circle, there's another way you can go. You can go up these stairs, right? Instead of going down to the mine area, you can kind of go up these stairs right here. And this is a little shortcut from the attack tower to the defense tower. It's like a straight shot to take you right there. See that? So that's going from this area, kind of shooting in this area instead of going like around this way. This is more like a straight shot, and it goes, and it's kind of like that for either way, right? Like if I wanted to go to this defense tower, and I was at this attack tower right here, then I would shoot from there. I'd go this way. And I know I just make a sharp left here and I'm there, right? So there's you know, there's different ways to access, but knowing how to get to these 4 towers as quickly as possible from wherever you are is the way to go. It's pretty much the way to play Minewars. You know what I mean? Remember, you're playing Minewars for combination as far as rewards go. If you play for anything else, that's your choice. Like if you're playing to get a certain amount of kills and such, you can do that. It's just not necessary. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much it. You know, in Minewars, you got up to, I think up to like 25, 24 people that can spawn for each team, right? And then you kind of just literally, you take your, each team goes, like each team spawns here, like blue team spawns here, red team spawns here. You'll notice that the blue team typically goes this way to take their first tower, and they go here to take their second tower. And the red team goes here to take the first tower and ends up going here to take the second tower. And then they kind of converge in the middle sometimes, or they converge at each other's attack tower, trying to see who can take it first and who can establish that dominance. Usually the team that takes over the attack tower of the opposing team without losing the attack tower that they originally got is the stronger team at the moment. That just means typically that they've had more people spawn in sooner, or, you know, or they're really a stronger team. So if you are on a way weaker team, right? This will apply to some of you. Let's say you're on a server that doesn't play Minewars much. Don't play Minewars, and you're just like, fuck, what do I do? Okay, listen. If you're on a server that doesn't play much Minewars, remember the first thing I showed you. The very first thing I showed you in this video, okay? These are the server rankings. Okay, so here we only have 25 total, is that right? So there's no more than 25 servers, which makes sense. Which means that this is the lowest reward that servers can get. Why do we even have this? Do we plan on having this many more servers? That's kind of crazy. Anyways, this is the lowest reward a server can get. You know what I mean? Which means that if you are top 5 in some of the lower servers who are not active, you still have access to these rewards as long as you are one of the few that is consistently getting your combination and always, you know, consistent with Minewars every single day. Once you start building a well enough lead, you don't even have to do Minewars for the rewards. You already know you're gonna get the rewards. Just do Minewars to get your 4 catalysts and your 80 prismanium, like at that point, you know what I mean? Just do your dailies to get your stuff and just be done with it. You know, if you know your server's not active and you're gonna get your ass whooped like every time, then you know it is what it is. What you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to wait for a server merger, right? So that your server ends up being active once it's merged with other servers. And they've done it before to create, you know, more active servers, and it's worked. It's a good thing when they do it. So if that's the situation that you're in because you're on a low server, that's perfectly fine. You still have access to get, you know, the machine mount if you follow these things and you're doing these things and you are, you know, at least top 5 in your combination, which I've shown you. It's you don't need crazy power to get there. You just need consistency. That's it. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for Minewars. Hopefully this video, I talked a lot. Hopefully this clears up a lot of things when it comes to Minewars. Minewars is pretty important when it comes to enhancing your character. So that's why I'm making this video. But Minewars gives you the catalyst and prismanium, which I think is really important, especially when it comes to enhancing your character. A lot of you are asking, yo, Chovy, how do I get my character, like, how do I get all my gear to plus 15? That seems impossible. They don't give us enough catalysts. Well, one of the major things is Minewars. You get 4 catalysts a day, just by participating in Minewars. So, all right, and then one of the key things that I want to go over before I forget, right? So I'm editing the video and I forgot to add this in, so I just want to make sure I add this in for you guys. Is your actual build. So, one of the things that you can do, which is really good, is when you're setting up your insignias. Okay, now this is one of the few things that you're gonna actually set up combat insignias for. So this is your second insignia slot as opposed to your first. A lot of the main insignias that we use, there's actually better options than the ones that are given to us, or the ones that are optimal for our main slots. There's actually more optimal insignias for combat slots. So when you're actually doing your sets, you can make a second set of insignias. Sometimes you can use the, you know, if you don't have an insignia here, then it'll automatically use your first one. But, you know, let's say for example, you know, I'm using, I don't know, Andre's actually really good. There we go. So, oh no, sorry. Damage to bosses, damage to debuff, boom. This is an insignia that is not good for Minewars. I'm not dealing damage to bosses and I'm not dealing damage to debuff. So I might want to replace this with, one of the great options here is, I think either Garamos or the shield mech one. that adds either skill damage or damage bonus, those would actually be better than this Azro, which is super expensive and, you know, crazy insignia, right? This is a super expensive, yeah, not really good for Minewars. So then you would put something better in this slot so that you can activate this insignia in Minewars instead of this one. So there's that too. And then of course your circuits, it's always good to have different sets. I have an Electro set, an Umbro set that I haven't finished yet, and then of course my PvP set that I haven't finished yet. But you know, once I finish my PvP set, this is actually going to be the one I use for Minewars, and this one's going to be more centric on, you know, attack speed, crit damage, not so much elemental, but magic crit and things like that, like a magic attack. Like, it's going to be focused on the stats that I need to really push for PvP and are super effective in PvP, instead of that, you know, the PvP aspect of it. You can, you know, while you're digging through your circuits, it's always good to have, you know, different slots to fit your circuits into, because you're gonna find that when you're searching for your, like, I run Electro right now, right? And you know, I always try to dig for better circuits for Electro, but while I'm looking, I might find one that has Umbro, or I might find one that has a lot of attack speed, and I might find one that's like, wow, this would be a good PvP one, wow, this would be a good Umbro one. So then I can slot those here instead of wasting it because I only have one set of circuits. So please set multiple circuit presets so that you're able to save your circuits in better slots. And Minewars is one of those things to where you can do stat specific circuits for Minewars, and they'll be super effective since a lot of your stats aren't included, but circuit stats are. So just a suggestion there, right? Anyways, back to original Chovy, current Chovy. Just some info. You know, this is just a video to break down Minewars, to make it make a little more sense to those that it just doesn't make sense to. You know what I mean? I've read a lot of information on Minewars that I didn't even think I needed. So this is just this is for y'all. This is for y'all. You know what I mean? Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you feel like it's helped you at all. If you feel like you gained any information from watching this, please leave a comment letting me know anything that you feel like I missed in Minewars, or you know, if you just want to tell me something you want me to make a video on, you know, give me your ideas. You know, your ideas keep me going. I'd rather make a video that you guys want to see than just make one out of random. So, you know, just let me know. And then yeah, that's it. I'm out of here. Peace. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and subscribe. Head over to Twitch, follow Chovy06, where I do stream 3 or 4 times a week. See you there.